Well, good afternoon. Great to have your company on Kalkine TV. James Preston with you live from our studios in Sydney. And you're watching The Market Movers, a show where we delve into the movements from the opening bell and into the afternoon. Let's zoom our lens on the market performance for today. Let's start with how the market is positioned broadly, and Australian shares are trading higher today, taking cues from record Wall Street highs overnight as US President Joe Biden embraced a Senate infrastructure deal. The benchmark index is supported by strong gains from the cyclical materials and financial sectors, while healthcare, energy and IT sectors are capping the gains. The US indices, Nasdaq Composite and S&P 500 closed at all-time highs on Thursday as data demonstrating fewer weekly unemployment claims bolstered perceptions of a steady recovery in the labour market. While the current level of jobless claims is nearly double the pre-pandemic levels, the claims are exhibiting a continuous fall amidst recovering economy sectors. Meanwhile, upbeat reports from Commerce Department confirming a solid 6.4% GDP growth in the US economy in March 2021 quarter and a 2.3% surge in orders for durable goods in May 2021 reinforced optimism in the equity market yesterday. Moving on to the next news, in the commodity market, the jump in Chinese coke futures to a 6-week high level on Thursday caught massive attention. The increase in the price of steelmaking ingredients came as China tightened safety checks at coal mines ahead of the July 1 celebrations for the 100-year anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party. China's unofficial ban on Australian coal and resilient domestic steel production sparked fears of tighter supply, contributing to the commodities price increase. With China's Commerce Ministry remaining firm on stabilising commodity prices and promoting import diversification, it will be interesting to watch how the price scenario unfolds in the commodity space. And now let's take a look at the latest news on the COVID-19 front. ASX 200 gains were capped amid healthcare situations turning grim closer to home. Australia's most populous state, New South Wales, reported a double-digit rise in new locally acquired cases of COVID-19 for the fourth straight day as it battles a fresh outbreak. Health experts and the New South Wales government are torn between conflicting narratives, with one camp calling for lockdowns in Sydney due to the Bondi cluster and the other resisting lockdowns despite a surge in cases. Of course, the new update is that lockdowns will come into effect as of 11:59 p.m. tonight. As the new variant has a reputation for causing large-scale hospitalisations, health experts are calling for stringent lockdown restrictions to continue for the next few days. While the New South Wales government claims that current restrictions are enough to combat the new cases in the nation, coming days will remain crucial in controlling the spread of the virus. And as a result, as we have recently seen, very much a piece of breaking news, we do now have those updated restrictions and lockdowns coming into effect tonight. Let's now take a look at the sectoral charter. While the ASX 200 is inching towards a positive close for the week. Notably, miners rose the most on the benchmark, extending gains for a fourth straight session, tracking China coke futures. Meanwhile, heavyweights BHP Group and Rio Tinto both traded in the green. Lithium miner Pilbara Minerals jumped up on announcing an approval of a staged restart at its Nungaju operation during the December quarter of 2021. The company anticipated record shipments in the June quarter. Also, the miner said it expects annual production to be ramped up to approximately 180,000 to 200,000 dry metric tonnes by mid-calendar year in 2022. As per the company release, this will see the combined annual production capacity of its Pilgangoora project increase to 560 all the way up to 580 dry metric tonnes. Next news comes courtesy of the yellow metal space, and gold stocks jumped despite prices recording a downtick. The country's largest listed gold miner, Newcrest Mining, advanced. Romulus also advanced, and Gold Road and Northern Star Resources also inched higher. Well, the financial sector has also contributed to the overall share market gains, snapping a 2-day losing streak as the so-called Big Four banks gained. Commonwealth Bank of Australia, Australia and New Zealand Banking Group, National Australia Bank and also Westpac Banking Corporation rose about 1% each. And just before we share some more trending updates on Kalkine TV, it's time for a very small break, but stay with us as I'll be back in just a moment with all the ASX listed shares that are on the move today.
Tune in to stay updated while on the move.
We will tell you where the crypto craze has reached,
Where the property market is headed next.
what the world is doing to become more environmentally friendly.
Apart from tracking the daily market charter.
Be on top of the latest news and announcements
With Kalkine TV.
Welcome back, James Preston with you live from Kalkine Studios in Sydney. This is the Market Movers program. Hope you've been enjoying it so far, and if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. Let's now take a look at the latest news from the Australian markets. Australian energy majors such as Woodside Petroleum and Oil Search traded in red despite an oil price uptick. Perhaps demand-side concerns amid rising virus threats are causing a dent to the energy sector more broadly. On Thursday, crude oil prices settled higher, hovering near three-year highs as the drawdowns in US inventories and accelerating German economic activity spurred oil demand. In addition, doubts about the future of the 2015 Iran nuclear deal that could potentially end US sanctions on Iranian oil exports, also supported rising prices. Moving on, and the tech sector rout is also capping overall market gains. IT stocks WiseTech Global, Nuix and Zipco traded in red on the ASX 200 board. Let's now take a look at some of the big movers under the spotlight today. To begin with, semiconductor memory technology developer Weebit Nano skyrocketed on integration successes of Selector with the ReRAM cell for the standalone market. The company shared that it has developed the industry's first ever commercial assimilation of an oxide-based ReRAM OxRAM cell with an ovonic threshold switching selector. This is an important stage in the company's path towards commercialisation in the standalone memory market. As per the company release, this achievement is a crucial step towards broadening Weebit's target market beyond embedded non-volatile memory. Taking a look at the next stock that is moving today, and that is Southern Cross Media, which zoomed up on a 2-year affiliation with Network 10. Southern Cross Austereo has signed an agreement with Network 10 to broadcast channels 10, 10 Bold, 10 Peach and 10 Shake for 2 years in Queensland, Southern New South Wales and regional Victoria. This is in addition to having these different channels operate in major metro centres. Also, lithium miner Pilbara Minerals jumped on the board upon announcing an approval of a staged restart at its Nungaju operation during the December quarter of 2021. The company anticipated record shipments in the June quarter. The miner said it expects annual production to be ramped up to approximately 200,000 dry metric tonnes, up from 180,000 metric tonnes by mid-calendar year 2022. As per the company release, this will see the combined annual production capacity of its Pilgangoora project increase up to 580,000 dry metric tonnes. Moving on, and wealth manager AMP is also under the spotlight today. AMP edged up on adding former Bendigo Bank CEO to its board. The company has announced the appointment of Mike Hurst, previously the CEO of Bendigo and Adelaide Bank from 2009 through to 2018, as an independent non-executive director to its board. And just before I share some more trending updates, it's time for another very small break here on Kalkine TV. But make sure to stick with us because I'll be back with more ASX listed shares and other market movers in just a moment.
Property by Kalkine. Looking for a dream home? Well, that may sound easy, but it isn't. And from looking for a property that is the right fit for you in terms of cost and other factors, to zeroing down on the right mortgage plan, there are various aspects to consider. And for the latest lowdown on the property market, tune in on Kalkine TV with me, Sage. I will give the latest updates on the property market as well as real estate stocks to help you make the right decision. Keep watching Property with Kalkine.
Welcome back. Great to have your company here on Kalkine TV. James Preston with you, and this is the Market Movers program. Let's now take a look at a few more ASX listed shares that are on the move today. Travel operator Flight Centre traded in the green on launching staff retention plans. Under the new program, employees would get share rights if they continued their career at the firm through to the end of 2022. It's also very interesting to note that participants in the Global Recovery Rights Program will receive a one-off grant of 250 share rights, which will vest in February 2023. They'll then be able to exercise their rights and receive an equivalent number of Flight Centre shares. Meanwhile, integrated property group Charter Hall edged up on the back of an announcement surrounding its funds under management. The company said that its funds under management would rise to 52 billion Australian dollars by the end of June. As per the group, funds under management has increased $12 billion over the course of the 2021 financial year, representing a 28% growth in the metric. Also, salmon producer Huon Aquaculture is also under the investors' radar today. Huon Aquaculture climbed on allowing due diligence to the interested parties. The salmon producer says its strategic review, which it kicked off in February due to unsolicited approaches, remains ongoing. The company is currently facilitating due diligence by select interested parties in order to explore whether a transaction is possible. Well, that's all for the Market Movers program. Hope you enjoyed the show, but make sure to stay tuned for more live updates on Kalkine TV across economy, markets and sectors. I'm James Preston for Kalkine TV.